occasion. We have 3 of the first 4 black students to attend Mercer here in our presence. One from Africa, Mr. Sam Oney, 2 African Americans. Actually, they are not all 3 here. Betty is on the phone, but Mr. Benny Stevens is here, and Betty Walker called in, so you will hear from her through the phone lines, okay? What I thought we'd do is have each of them introduce themselves, and we're gonna have a limit, maybe 3 minutes or so for the introduction, just so that because a lot of this is gonna be covered as we do the panel discussion.
Can I be allowed 3 minutes and 1 second?
Okay, 1 second. Okay. Most of the students here now are actually in my class, and they were instructed to prepare questions for you all. So I'm expecting some very good questions. Also, they have read portions of the Stem of Jesse, and I forgot to tell them in class that I wanted to make an adjustment to read the chapters. I did send them an email. I don't know if everybody read the email to sort of read ahead to the assignment that was supposed to be done this week, to go ahead and read it for tonight. And that is those chapters that feature you 2 and Betty, okay? And particularly Betty, I directed them to I think it was 2 or 3 pages that they had on you that I wanted them to read? Mm-hmm. Yes, if you will, right along in there will be fine. Okay, thank you. Okay, so who wants to get us started? How about ladies first this time? You want it, Betty? Would you mind? Just tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Betty Walker. I graduated from Appleton High School in Macon, Georgia, as valedictorian. And when I was 11 years old, I fell in love with the campus of Mercer University and decided based on that and that alone that's where I would attend college. Not where I wanted to attend, but where I would attend college. And so I took that exciting news home to my mother, and she said to get that thought out of my head because that was a white school and I was a black girl. But as I've said many times, I didn't get the thought out of my head and I didn't get it out of my heart. But I prayed about it. And then later, I did attend Mercer University. Now, I was not the first to attend. That distinction goes to Mr. Oney and Mr. Stevens. But I became the first black female to graduate from Mercer University in 1968 with a degree in mathematics, a minor in physics. So I'll stop there, and hopefully that didn't take up 3 minutes.
No, you're fine, Betty. I was just giving a little guideline. There's no penalty involved. Okay. Mr. Stevens?
Well, as has already been stated, my name is Benny Stevens, and I'm a native of Macon. I was born and raised in Macon, Georgia. Is you the same Amber that was here last time?
Yes, okay. And I brought my nephew, Sam, and he's a junior in high school, so we're sitting in.
I also graduated from Appling as a valedictorian. And let me tell you one thing right now. I don't know whether you can notice or not, but I wear hearing aids in both ears. And that comes from 25 and a half years in the field artillery of the United States Army. So if you say something and I kind of look at you like I didn't understand what you said, it's because I didn't understand what you said. These things, I've had them for about 8 years, maybe longer. And back when I got them, they cost $6,000, which the government didn't help me to pay for because the government said we didn't do it, even though I know they did do it. So, and I just said that to say they cost all that money, and I still can't hear. I tell people all the time I wear hearing aids, and I still can't hear. Or maybe I need to update them. I don't know. But I ended up at Mercer. I think the best way to state it is by the grace of God, really. From as long as I can remember, and from when I recognized what they were, I wanted to be an airplane pilot. I wanted to fly jets. And I even tried to go to the Air Force Academy to do that, and there's a whole lot of history associated with that, and I won't go into it in the interest of time, but I didn't make it. I went and took a couple of tests and also a physical exam, and did some physical stuff to try to go to the Air Force Academy. But when I found out I couldn't go to the Air Force Academy, I was in the 10th grade, and that just kind of blew my dreams for doing anything. I just made up my mind that since I didn't go to the Air Force Academy, I was going to join the Air Force after I graduated from high school, and spent about 4 years in the Air Force. And when I was discharged from the Air Force, I was going to work at Robins Air Force Base, which is where almost all of the men around my neighborhood worked at the time, and they all drove nice cars and wore nice clothes and lived in nice homes. I thought that they were all doing pretty good. So when my guidance counselor started talking to me about what I was going to do when I didn't go to the Air Force Academy, I said, well, I'm just going to join the Air Force, serve 4 years, and go work at Robins Air Force Base. And he said, you sure that's what you want to do? I said, yeah, that's it. I can't afford to go to college. I can barely afford to go to high school, so I can't afford to go to college. And that was probably in the 11th grade when that happened. Well, when I started my senior year in high school, probably about in November or so, I got a call to go down to the guidance counselor's office. And I went down there, and he said, are your plans for college still non-existent? I said, yeah. He said, so you still just want to go in the Air Force? Yeah, that's what I want to do. He said, how would you like to go to Mercer University? And I looked at him, I said, Mercer University is a white school. I can't go there. He said, well, not anymore. This fall, which was in 1963, they're going to accept black students, and they're, for lack of a better term, recruiting. And he said, your grades are good enough that you can get accepted and you can go to school. I said, well, I still can't afford to go. And he said, well, when they called and when we've had several discussions, and I mentioned that to him, I talked to him about that, and they said, don't worry about money, they'll take care of it. And I couldn't believe that, because I didn't know anything about grants and scholarships and all that. I'd just given up on all that stuff. So the process started, and went through all this stuff, and I got accepted at Mercer. Went to the campus in that spring in 1963 to meet with people, and the most impressive person that I met with was Dean Joe Hendricks, the Dean of Men at the time, Dean Joe. And Dean Joe basically told me a couple of things. He said, first of all, you did real well on the SAT, the Scholastic Aptitude Test, but you're going to be competing with students that did a whole lot better than you. So I just want you to know that. The next 4 years is going to be a little difficult for you. But if you apply yourself and work hard, you appear to be a good enough student that you'll be fine. I said, well, okay. And he said, the other thing is, we're not going to try to change you at Mercer. We want you to be just a normal college student, even though it's not really a normal situation, but we want you to be that and just do the best you can. And if you need any help from me, my office is always open, and that was true for the whole 4 years. Anytime I needed to go see Dean Joe, all I had to do was show up, and if he was in a meeting or if he was talking to somebody, I'd try to leave, and he wouldn't let me. He'd say, wait, I'll stop this and I'll talk to you. And it was just wonderful. It was truly wonderful. So the whole 4-year experience was just something that, and see, I really didn't realize at the time any kind of historical significance of what was about to happen. I just wanted to go to college, and that's all I thought about. I'm going to college. But that summer of 1963, as I talked to people, friends and family, it became clear to me about the kind of historical event that was about to happen. Because I'd say that somebody would say, okay, you graduated from high school, you're going to college? Yeah, I am. Where are you going? Mercer University. And they look at me like I just told them I was going to outer space or something. I said, yeah, that's where I'm going. So by the time September rolled around, I was fully into the history that was getting ready to be made. And on that fateful day in September, when I showed up for class, my best friend, a guy by the name of Larry Hicks, brought me to the campus because he had a car, I didn't. And when we got, and I'd already visited the campus, so I was pretty comfortable with it. But when we got there, he stopped in front of the student center to let me out, and he looked at me and he said, "You okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he said, "You want me to wait?" And I said, "Wait for what?" Wait, and I didn't. It wasn't even an issue at the time.